Hello everyone and welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Today's video we are looking at this foot. This girl has got an abscess in her left front foot, so let's get this foot picked up and let's get to work. Now this foot looks awfully dirty, and it is, but a lot of this, the straw especially, is from the pen behind me where I'm loading these cows. At the beginning of the day we put fresh straw in there, and over the course of the day as we get a lot of cows going through it, it ends up getting messy and that stuff sticks to my feet. But I use it to dry it off. It keeps the feet a lot drier that way, and that stuff doesn't end up on me. What we've got here is a white line lesion right in that white line. We're going to remove all of this horn up above it. I am not a psychic. People say, are you a psychic? How can you tell that that's where it is? No, of course not. It's experience. A lot of times these are in very predictable spots. So when I see a little disruption in that white line, I pretty much know exactly where that's going to be, and I know exactly where it's going to lead. So let's speed this trim up, and let's get started cleaning this baby up. Here you can get a close-up of that white line, and you'll notice that I notched out that very top mark. And you might be wondering to yourself, why didn't you check this bottom one, or the middle one, or the next one up? Why did you notch out the top one? And I did a video on this a while back. It was something to the effect of, did this start on the inside or the outside? Basically what's happening is the marks we see now on the outside originally formed when that outside wall and that sole, when that junction formed inside the foot. And if there's a defect in that white line when it's forming, that crack is going to be permanent. Keratin doesn't heal itself. It doesn't repair itself. So when it has to produce new horn. So when there's a defect, that defect's going to remain there forever. And that's what happens. As this foot grows, that crack moves down the foot as well. So if we have a situation in a foot that is where the foot is imbalanced and that's creating pressure on that white line area, then that defect is going to continue to happen over and over and over again, and you can end up with a situation like this where we have multiple different marks where we're having where this imbalance, or let's say she slipped or she has to make turns in the parlor continually, something that happens regularly, you're going to end up with marks like this that move down the foot. But that top mark, that is going to be most likely the spot of the lesion itself. And as you can see here, as we're removing it, once we get this cleaned up, you'll be able to tell that's exactly where that lesion was located. Those other marks, like I said, just a timeline as far as when it happened. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, was she lame that entire time if that was happening? No, that's just where the white line, the problem in the white line happened. She became lame when that sole or that corium underneath became infected. And that happened when all those lines got to the outside and met up, and where bacteria was allowed to travel those cracks and get to the inside, get to the corium to infect it. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to thin out the sole a little bit more, do some more knife work. I got to open this up. There's some loose horn up toward the top, that heel bulb area. I'm going to need to take that out as well, get this whole thing opened up, and we'll get a better look at what this lesion looks like. I get questions frequently about the thickness of the sole around these areas that we're working on here. And when it comes to this lesion area, that sole that I'm working around is, I don't want to say paper thin, but not much thicker than that. It's maybe a 32nd of an inch thick at best. So while this may look like, you know, some rough work trying to cut that hoof away, you have to be very deliberate with your strokes, because one misstep and you're going to actually cut into that soft sole and create a problem that currently doesn't exist. So we have to work around these edges very carefully, open up the lesion area and get this all the loose stuff around it. You can see right there is the lesion itself that I'm cleaning right at that point, and the rest of this is actually filled in new horn at this point. But like I said, it's really thin, so you got to be careful when you're working around that not to damage that new stuff. Get zoomed in here, you can get a good look at that lesion, and you can see the surrounding hoof is all filled in, and it's like I said, very soft. It's soft to the touch, so definitely cannot support weight at this point. So we're going to get that other claw prepped up and get a block on that. What that's going to do is provide relief by elevating this injured claw off the ground. It's going to allow that time for that softer horn to firm up and to put some sole depth on, and that'll eventually provide support where that will no longer give, and she'll be good to go. So something to note about applying blocks, I don't think I've ever talked about on this, but when I'm putting that block on that claw, I'm not smashing it on there real tight. All I'm trying to do is make sure I've got some good adhesion between the sole and that block itself, but I don't want to squash all the glue out from between the block and the sole. That's what's holding it on there. So what I'm going to do now is just trim away some of this loose stuff up toward the top. It's away from the lesion, not a big deal, but we'll get that taken care of now, and then we'll take one final look at it, and we'll put this foot down. I know I've talked about it a million times, but the spray I'm using is chlorhexidine. The reason I use that is it's got provides a longer lasting barrier, and it actually binds to the keratin in the hoof. So lasts a little bit longer, gives me some protection, especially in this case where I'm not going to be wrapping that foot. One last look here, because this lesion is basically closed in, and because I don't feel there's any risk of digital dermatitis, I'm just going to keep that spray on and let her go. Here you can get a good look at the relief that block is giving that open area there, allowing that sole to thicken up, and off she goes, back to her pen. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you all on the next one. Enjoy your holiday weekend.